All right, I wanted to do a new video, a T-Mobile home internet review. And as always, this will probably take like 30 times longer than it should because, well, as I always point out in my defense, I do not script my YouTube. I just turn the camera on and start talking. Probably should script them. I usually go off on pointless tangents that take forever, and that's why my videos are like 40 minutes for no reason. But let's be that as it may. Could review two products today because I'm using a new tripod I got from Amazon for like 20 bucks to hold my camera so I don't have to hold it as I film. It's really nice for 20 bucks. I think it was. Highly recommend. It might have been 30, but still worth it. Amazon is amazing, man, and the kind of stuff you can find. Like speaking of useless tangents, I just got a dry erase board off of there. Out of all things, I just realized I wanted one for my refrigerator to like plan meals and whatever, and hey, there was one on Amazon. I think it was like $13.99. It comes with like four different color markers. It's magnetic. It's really big. It's like 17 inches by 12 inches or something. I mean, it's great. I mean, I would say the only problem I have is that the markers, they all have magnets on them to attach to it in the dry erase, the eraser. But they're kind of either my fridge isn't metal enough or something, because the magnet is not like the board itself. It's real thin, but so it attaches really well, but the markers and the eraser are kind of flimsy. The magnet strength isn't real strong on them. Like I said, it could be something with my refrigerator not being metal enough. I don't know. But anyways, overall, I love it. It's just a point of I got it from Amazon for like $13.99, and I think it was like $1 off coupon right there. You just check mark the coupon. So it was like dirt cheap, and with Prime, I get it like a next day practically, maybe 2 days. I love Amazon for certain things. No, it's not always the best, but and you always helpful tip. I made a whole video about it, but search for what's best selling and whatever you're looking for. Like it's literally search like Amazon best selling dry erase boards or something. You'll always find pretty much the best stuff at the top. Anyways, on to this T-Mobile home internet review, which I'm shooting on my new tripod from Amazon, cell phone tripod, which is pretty great. But I can review it too, like I said. But anyways, so T-Mobile home internet. Now, as usual, I have to go into a long-winded backstory here, which is that I live in an area that had no choice for internet but the cable company. And I didn't even know because when I moved here, it's the little house, I just assumed that it had DSL service. I don't know why, because I figure it has phone lines. It has, who uses a landline anymore anyway, but it has landline jacks in it and stuff. The house. So I'm like, well, it has phone lines. Surely it has DSL available at least. It may be crap. Well, I checked into it a few years ago, and there's no DSL at all. I didn't even know that was a thing, but I guess there's a lot of areas that even though they have old copper phone lines coming in, have no DSL available. Again, I don't know how that's even possible, but I guess it's just not financially not worth it for companies to serve that way. Plus, DSL is really slow. A few years ago they could compete, I guess, when cable was 50 megabits or something like that or less. But now cable has shot up to being like 1 gigabit in a lot of cases. Like where I live, I can get 1 gigabyte cable, no problem. Or gigabit, they make a big deal out of gigabit fiber and all that. Well, I can get gigabit over my cable, like no big deal, and have been able to for months, if not years, probably. The one difference is I think fiber has a lot higher upload speeds. Cable is usually somewhat, but cable scales pretty well. Like if you have 1 gigabyte download, you're probably getting at least 100 meg upload or something. And I don't care about upload. I know there's people who do, but I don't. Other than uploading these YouTube videos every once in a while, I'm not doing a ton of upload. I'm not like a professional Twitch streamer or something. So, so the point is, I only had one option for home internet, which is kind of scary. Other than like getting a horrendous satellite dish, and those are just unusable. My parents had one out their place in the boonies a few years ago, and they're horrible. The latency's really bad. You can't game on them really because the latency's so bad. Now I know Starlink's come along with the low Earth orbit satellites, change all that, I'm talking about this is the old like I'm not sure the name of it, but with the dishes and everything. I mean, it worked for them, but wasn't able to game. Like my brother lived at home at that time, and was a big PC gamer. He was kind of hosed. You know, he couldn't game on it really. Um, but on to so I only had one option for my internet, which is my cable company, and I cut the cord many years ago. And at the time that I cut the cord, which might have been like 10 years ago, I think it was. I was one of the first cord cutters, to be honest, back when it was like this big scary thing. But I realized I hardly ever watched my cable. The only thing I wanted it for was sports, which granted was a little bit of a problem. No, I wouldn't say huge. But it actually worked out great even back then. I think Sling TV came along shortly. It was like the first actual digital TV service that you could just subscribe, pay a monthly fee, and get some channels. I did that off and on for a while, but point is I never really watched my cable, so what was the point? At that time, I was paying like $150 for cable, and internet, of course. Okay, and I just added like the NFL Network too. I thought I was a big shot. But it was another 15-20 bucks. But I thought, hey, because there was always this thing every year where like a Cowboys game was on NFL Network or two. And at that time, the NFL was trying to get everybody to sign up for NFL Network or whatever, so they wouldn't allow it to be on the local networks. So you actually had to go to a sports bar to watch if you didn't have NFL Network. So one day I just decided to get the NFL Network, and that was like another 20 bucks to get that whole package, along with a bunch of other channels, because you can't just get it by yourself on get it by itself on cable. So that had raised my bill from like 130, 120 to like 150. I remember I had just done that not too long before I cut the cord. But then one day I was like, I'm paying 150. You know what? How about I just cut the cord? I don't really watch these channels. The NFL games are available on over the air. Where I live, I get like NBC, CBS, and Fox over the air. I can't get ABC over the air. But I don't think ABC has any NFL games anymore anyway. So I can get almost like every NFL game free over the air with an antenna, a little internal house antenna. I don't even need that external antenna or anything. So I'm like, all right, I'm cutting the cord, whatever. And like I said, back then it was scary. I was one of the first ones. Now everybody does it. I mean, not the first, but you know what I mean. I was part of it back when it was, like I said, it was scary and it was an early thing. People weren't doing it like back then. And it was wonderful. I didn't miss cable much, if at all. And my bill went from like 150 to like 30 some, and it was amazing. I was crowing, man, I'm saving $120 a month, and I don't even miss cable, and blah 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 blah. Well, over the years, of course, the cable company figured something out. Hey, if people aren't going to subscribe to our cable TV, and like at my house, they're the only option possible for home internet, literally. There's no DSL. At that time, there wasn't any over 4G home internet. So they're like, instead of $35 a month for this internet, we're charging talking about stuff. We can jack it to 50 bucks. There's nothing he can do, and he'll still be happy because, hey, he's paying 50 instead of the 150 he used to pay for cable and internet and all these channels he used to have and whatnot. But then they go, hey, wait a minute, 50? We can charge 60? There's nothing you can... Wait a minute, we can charge 70, we can charge 80. And that's what happened over the years. They kept creeping and creeping up the price, and they realized kind of quickly that they had a lot of customers over the barrel. Yeah, you can cut the cord, but guess who controls the cord? If that makes any sense. So they quickly it wasn't too long before, and every month my bill would go up. That annoyed me. No two bills are the same. Like, just the way cable companies operate is annoying as crap. Like, you'd get one for 102, then 105, then 103, then 108, then 109. Like, literally no two bills are the same, which makes no sense to me. Like, if you've got certain static, like federal fees, and you've got certain, like, why can't their bill be the same thing ever? No, it's like, maybe they do that honestly as I wouldn't doubt it, like a social engineering tactic to get you to accept price increases easier. Because if your bill is like Actually, now I just thought of that. I thought that it was just a natural thing, but now I'm thinking about it, I bet they do that so that they can raise your price all the time and you don't notice. Because if you have a flat fee bill, like with this T-Mobile home internet, which is $50 flat, and you get a price increase, you're going to immediately notice. But if your bill is like fluctuating around, it's 102, it's 99, it's 104, they can jack it up easier. And that's what happened. Like, no two bills are the same. I didn't notice that till I read it in somebody's comment on the internet. Then I was like, hey, wait a minute, that is so true. And they will kind of fluctuate, and they go up more, of course, than they go down. And they would go up a lot, and it got bad. Like, at one point, it was going up like $5-10 every single month. It seemed like it went from like 90, 95-ish, 100-ish, 105. It's just every single month they were jacking it like $5 to $10. It got up to like 120 before it got really ridiculous. I'm like, okay, it may have taken 10 years, but they've gone from where I was paying 150 for cable internet to now I'm paying 120 for just internet. Naturally, that's the end game. That's where they got you. You're gonna pay your 120 to 150 either way. If it's just for internet, bully on you. But you're not getting out of that money. Is the way they looked at it, because they had you over a barrel, and they have a lot of customers over the barrel. I think it's utter nonsense. They had a cable company monopoly, and you literally, like I said, had no real choice. I say no real because I guess the only choice would be like a satellite, which are terrible. So, and another reason that sucks is I used to dabble in downloading TV shows, right? That's illegal, or downloading movies, downloading whatever. And I thought it was fine, nothing would happen. I did some research on it, whatever. I'm technically savvy. I assumed it was okay. I mean, well, one day I got a little notice, It was like, hey, we see you've downloaded such and such show, and that's illegal, or whatever. I don't remember. I think the first couple times over the years I got like a letter here and there or something. It was no big, but one day they really scared me because, and this had not happened a lot. This happened like once every couple years. So it wasn't like I was getting tons of notices, and it wasn't like I downloaded a ton of movies or anything. I really didn't. It was pretty rare. Probably in my life I've downloaded 100 movies. Nothing much. Not like some of these people that just max anime torrents 24/7 and stuff. But anyway, so I know there's ways around it. You can get a VPN and stuff, but it gets kind of complicated, and I don't know. I thought torrenting was safe at the time or something. I don't remember the details. But one day I get up a few years ago, 3, 4, 5 years ago, I don't remember. I get up and I log on, and I get this scary or I can't connect to the internet or something. And I had a feeling something was weirdly wrong. It wasn't connecting, and I couldn't figure it out. And I think somehow I got on, and then it was like a splash page of like, you have violated your internet, your ISP terms of service, blah blah blah, from Sudlink. It was pretty scary because in that moment I was thinking, oh crap, am I gonna lose my internet? Oh no, because like internet is really important. I spend so much time on the computer. It's like half my social life, if that makes sense. I'm just constantly on there, and to lose it would be just almost unimaginable. And for 5-10 minutes there, I was kind of scared. Like, am I gonna lose my internet? Because it put this big scary splash page up about how you've downloaded illegal content, you're at risk of losing your internet or something like that. And it eventually proceeded to make you go through all these, like, I think you had to apologize, like a click, I apologize, or something like that. I don't remember. Like, and I promise not to do it again, and this and that. Made you go through all these splash screens of like, I'm a bad boy, I won't do it again. Please let me have my internet back, stuff like that. It was really scary. Like I said, I really had that fear for like a couple of minutes of, is there a possibility that I lose my internet here? Like I said, I wasn't a big repeat offender or anything like that. It just came out of the blue one day. They had caught me torrenting something. And like I said, this was not a regular occurrence. I'd probably not had maybe in my life I got 2 or 3 letters or emails about this stuff, and it was like, once every 3 years or something. It was not a regular thing. And I would always it would be just a warning, so I'd just kind of forget about it, and then maybe a year later I felt like torrenting a movie, so I would, and nothing would happen, so I might do it again here. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a big deal. But that day when it seemed like I could lose my internet. It was scary. And eventually I got through. I had to click through all these like I promise I won't do it again type of splash screens and stuff to get back on the internet. But my mind was kind of racing at the time. Like, what am I gonna do? What's Plan B here? What am I gonna do? uh, so that's another reason it's scary to have a sole internet provider. And by the way, I don't understand why cable companies are monopolies, because I understand that there's one line that goes to your house. But there's also one power line that goes to your house. And here in Texas, where I live, we have a system where like a certain company for a fee maintains the power line. But then you can get your electricity from any service provider. We have a kind of competition that way. And they just feed you the power down the line, however it works. And it works great because I pay like 7 cents an hour. Well, I think it's going back up to like 9. But for a long time, I was paying like 7 cents a kilowatt hour, like really low electric rates. Because you can go and shop around. There's different companies. There's a whole government, a state website where you powertochoose.org, I think it's called. And, you sign up for your little 12 or 24 month electric contract. And it's wonderful. It's competition. Even though there's only one line to your house, so why isn't that a monopoly? I remember they passed this in the Texas legislature a few years ago, and at first it didn't work that great. Like, prices were kind of high compared to the nation. But eventually it settled down, and like we have like some of the lowest electric prices. Like I said, there was a long time there over the last few years where I was paying 7 cents a kilowatt hour. I think it's back up to 9, but that's like a third of what like Germany pays, and a third of like a lot of states, even liberal states like California, Massachusetts, and stuff. So it's working great, and it just shows that just because there's one line to your house doesn't mean you can't have competition. So I don't know why they don't do anything like that with cable companies. Maybe because it's not considered an essential utility or something. I don't know. Why couldn't they just like any company can give you internet service and they just go over the one line that such and such company maintains for a fee or whatever? I don't know why they can't do that, but they don't. I'm sure it gets back to lining politicians' pockets. But anyways. So, one choice, scary, no options. That's just what I'd gotten used to. And I called Suddenlink and complained because I had this buddy who told me he got like the same 400 megabits. I have, the Suddenlink has a couple packages. They have a top tier 1 gigabit per second. And they have a secondary, I have the 400 megabits. That's like the second fastest package they offer. And the good thing about those tiers is they're unlimited data. So anything lower than that, you start having like caps, and they're pretty low. Like if you get to like 200 megabit speed, which I think is the next tier, it's like capped at like 350 gigabytes or something. It's a pretty low cap even. So not for me, definitely. I definitely need the unlimited. And I probably wouldn't except for Xbox Game Pass. But anyways. And also the speed's nice. And like at the time, honestly, like even 400 megabits per second, you don't use that much because most things are server limited. And mostly you're just dinking around on the internet and stuff, and you're not downloading anything. And it's plenty. You don't stress that connection. The only thing I'd stress it on was like my Xbox downloads. Okay, and they would only hit like 200 and something megabits, even from Xbox servers, even directly wired into the router. I wasn't going over Wi-Fi. What I later found out is that I always thought, I didn't know what the problem was. I just assumed, well, I guess, why am I not getting 400 megabits per second? I get 230, something like that, usually, on a big game download. I later realized that the actual problem, when I got my new Series X, the actual problem is like the input-output on the console. Because the old Xbox One had to like write that data to a hard drive, and the I/O, as they call it, was too slow. So that's why it only maxed out like 230. Because once I got my Series X, sometimes now I hit like 400 megabits per second on downloads. Not always, but so it's just because it can write to that SSD really fast. So that's interesting. Little aside. About almost 20 minutes. I haven't even talked about T-Mobile Internet. But anyways, I'm getting there. So yeah, so you don't use the 400 megabits per second that much. So I didn't really think it was worth like more money for 1 gigabits per second. Maybe one day. Plus you have to have like a special modem. Like 400 megabits per second, you could use like a lot of different modems. But for the 1 gigabit, you had to use like one certain modem that they had certified. and like so that just made it even a little bit more of a pain, and so on and so forth. I'm not sure if you could buy the modem. Like I buy the modem myself, of course, so I don't rent it, so I don't have to pay the equipment fee. But so yeah, 400 megabits was good for me. And to get to 1 gigabit, I'd have to get a whole new modem, which would be like $100+ probably and stuff like that. So that's why I'm on the 400 megabits. But anyways, but it's fast. It's good. It's fast. It's unlimited. I don't have problems with it really. I mean, I may get a random disconnection here and there, but who knows what the problem is at since my desktop's on Wi-Fi. Could be my router. Could be my Wi-Fi card. Could be anything. I don't know. But it's got low ping. It's fast. You know, it's good. But oh yeah, so that's fine. But they kept jacking the price. It was like 120. I finally called and bitched, and the lady was like, "Well, unless you're canceling, I can't do anything for you or something." And I'm stupid. I didn't just say I was canceling because I wasn't. But I was like, "Oh, okay." I just accepted it, and she ended up giving me like a $10 discount. So it went down to like 100. It went down to around 100ish actually somehow. She said that's the best she could do, you know, unless I was canceling, and then she would transfer me to retention if I was canceling, blah blah blah. And I was like, well, I'm not really planning to cancel, because I somehow thought I could just call and complain and they would lower it. No, they only lower it if you tell them you're canceling, and I didn't think on the fly fast enough to just tell them I was canceling because I couldn't cancel because there's no other options for internet. And some people can lie and say they're canceling when they're not or whatever. I don't know. I have a hard time with that, and my mind just doesn't work that way. But anyways, so moving on, I got the bill down to about 100 to 105 at least from like the 120 that it was at one point. But I still wasn't happy because that was a lot, and I kept dreaming about, man, I could cut $100 off a month off my bill. I was wondering what if I could just. I noticed I've always followed the scene, and I was like, man, these cell phone providers are offering a lot of data now. I know Sprint had one for like $90 a plan, or even $70, I think it was. It was like 100 gigabit, and I'm like, you could just hotspot, and they allowed you to hotspot all of it. So I was like, you can just hotspot 100 gigabit, and I was like, man, if I was just an old granny or something that just used email and whatever, that'd be plenty. The problem is it's not really for me. It's close. I could probably get by on like 250 gigabits because that used to be my cap before I moved to the phone. And I got by on it. Granted, that was a few years ago. The only thing that really sucks my internet, though, is these Xbox games because they're all freaking 100 gigabytes each. And I have Game Pass. Even though I'm not a huge gamer, I like to download them and screw around from time to time. And, 100 gigabits per game, Ooh, I want to download new Doom Eternal or something. That's 60, 70 gigabytes right there. You know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, so that's the case. Then there's T-Mobile Home Internet, and for some reason, but I checked on their address checker. They have an address checker. You go online, you put your address in, they tell you if you're acceptable or not, or you have the service. For some odd reason, one day I was poking around there or got linked there or something. I think I was researching internet for my parents who live out in the boonies. And I put my address in probably 10 times before on this T-Mobile website. It always said not available, whatever. This time, I was shocked. I don't know what changed. All of a sudden it said, home internet is available. T-Mobile home internet is available at your address. So I'm like, whoa. I thought that was the coolest thing. It was awesome to know that finally I had another home internet option. I researched a little bit, and I ended up getting it because, like I said, I was pissed off at I was thinking what I would do is cancel Suddenlink. Here's another enraging thing about Suddenlink is they have some pretty good deals, right? But they're for new customers only. Like, they have 400 megabits internet for like $55 a month flat, supposedly. I'm sure they tack on a few fees and taxes, but it's probably not more than like 60 after taxes and everything. So here I am paying 100 to 110, and if I'm a new customer, I can get a 2-year locked-in price of like $55 a month for 400 megabits. But for me, who's been with them forever, tough cookies. That's really annoying. And they have other like great deals like that, but they're only for new customers. I forgot they have another. They have another one that's like somewhat price for life, which I think is misleading. But it's like I think it's the 55 for 400 or something. Price for life, or maybe it's like 70 for 1 gigabit or something. But they claim like I guess it's locked in forever, or at least until you change providers or something. Now I'm sure that can't be the case. They're shady as heck. They get her. Somebody was pointing out here's how they screw you on your bill. Like if you look at your bill, there's several line items that make up your bill. Like it'll say like internet 400. That's the 400 megabit internet, right? It'll be like $29.99 or something. And then it'll be internet access fee, $49.99 or something like that. You see that? Like what is the internet access fee? Like what? And then it'll be like there's a third fee on there too at least. There's like at least three principal, and then there's like a discount line too, like special discount is all it says or something. So by adjusting any one of those like four categories, how much special discount you get, your internet 400 or internet 1 gigabits or whatever internet plan you've got, your internet access fee, they can change your bill at will and you can't pin them down. Like they might say, oh, we'll give you internet 400 megabits internet for $20 a month. No, that's $20 a month. Then they're going to charge you $30 for internet access and $20 for this other thing, and you get no discount, so it's $70 or $80 a month. Let's say that's just an example. For me, it's like 110. But you see what I mean? So you go, wait a minute, where's my $30? Well, your internet 400 is only 29. They can adjust any one of the line items. Again, I noticed this, or this was pointed out to me in a comment on the internet, and I realized how sneaky they are. They have like 4 line items that make up your bill, and by adjusting any of those, they can get your bill to be whatever the hell they want. Like they can, reduce your special discount line. They can reduce or increase your internet access fee. They can do all this stuff. And there's like nothing you can do because all those are like nebulous, meaningless categories anyway. So she gave me like a special discount or whatever that shows up on the special discount line. It was like $10. But okay, back to, I don't remember where I was. Just that Suddenlink billing is a nightmare. And, it's terrible. Everyone hates it. Everyone hates Suddenlink. It's a joke. And they have all these deals for new customers. That's where I was at. But if you're a regular customer that's been with them for 20 years, whatever it may be, screw you, So, and again, I've done a fair amount of research and reading on Reddit and stuff about this. And the deal is basically, from all accounts, is that to be considered a new customer, you have to have not had their service for 30 days, right? So all you got to do is cancel for a month, wait out a month, and then you're a new customer, and you can get all these nice new customer deals they offer that lock you in at a good price for 2 years, or they have the one that's forever. There must be some fine print on that, and they can change it, but they claim it's like a certain price forever, or forever price or something. So, So I was thinking when I first got to T-Mobile, I kind of had this vague idea, like I'll cancel, if it's decent, I'll cancel Suddenlink for a month and then hop back on one of their good deals. Or maybe I'll just keep T-Mobile. So I got the service. And it's a 30-minute lead up to the review of the T-Mobile home internet service. Now, what I liked and what I didn't. I liked the customer service for the most part. I like the bill. That's great. It's $50 a month with autopay. I think it's $55, but then with autopay it's $50. They take $5 off for autopay. I love the bill because it's a flat bill. It's $50, 50.00. It's not even $49.99. They probably should make it $49.99 because then it feels cheaper to you. I mean, honestly, I hate that kind of cheesiness with pricing, but at the same time, I got to admit it works. Like, if I was paying $49.95, I would somehow think it was a better deal than paying $50 flat. But I like the honesty in pricing. It's no cap at all. It's no download cap. And like I said, it's $50 a month even. And I love coming from Suddenlink and how they manipulate your bills. And you have 35 different line items on your bill, and federal fees, and this and that and the other junk. And so you don't ever know why your bill is what it is, and no two bills are ever the same amount. All this nonsense they do. To go to a $50, every month my bill is $50, no BS, all taxes and fees included, is great. I love that part of it. Okay, but just to spoiler alert, I have canceled it. I do not use T-Mobile, or I did cancel my service. Well, to be fair, like I said, my original plan was I was just gonna sign up, kind of see what happens, see how the service is, and maybe cancel my Suddenlink for a month, and then come back to Suddenlink and get all the good new customer discounts because I figured Suddenlink was faster. That's the thing. So let's get to the speed. Well, let's get to like how it works though. When you sign up, I guess you just sign up and you don't have to pay anything. It's awesome. And they just send you this. Okay, they send you a package, a little package with this. That's all they send you. I'm not gonna turn it over because it has like serial numbers and stuff, and I guess you don't not supposed to show stuff like that on the internet. But um, this is all they send you. Okay, and it comes with a battery, like a cell phone battery, right here, which goes in the bottom again. I'm not gonna flip it over. But it just clicks in like this, and then you put a cover on it. I never even put the cover on it because it clicks in with enough force that you can just leave it off. And it's the only way I know of to really completely disconnect it, because even if you unplug it, it still runs off this cell phone or this battery power. So the only way to actually like reset it, like you want to do sometimes, is pop this out. So I just left the cover off. It's a cover that screws on, no big deal. It should be like a clip-on cover though. That could be a little thing that engineers could work on or something, because you have to unscrew it every time. It's a pain. So I don't even leave the cover on there. It's fine. This has enough force to stay in without the cover. But so yeah, I will say that's a little annoying, as I didn't notice. I think there's a little pinhole reset button. Actually, I'll look at it right now. Here's the back. Here's what you get. Nice and simple. I like it. Yeah, it looks like there's a reset button there, but it's a pinhole, and I never have a pin handy. So usually I just jack the cord out whenever I want to reset my router or modem like this. But if you do that on this one, then the battery still keeps powering it, so it doesn't work. I guess I'm a complete idiot because apparently I never noticed it as an off-on button. Seriously, because I would always pop the battery out to reset it, and unplug it and pop the battery out. Well, I'm an idiot because you don't have to do that. And it looks like I never even noticed it has a SIM card thing right there. Cool. I never even noticed that again. And here it is. It has phone, WAN, LAN 1, LAN 2, power reset. Simple. This is the biggest advantage of this, and it has some lights here, LTE, whatever, Wi-Fi. This is the biggest advantage, I think, to the whole thing. And it's kind of an underrated thing, but it's to me, it's like the future. This is it, man. You get your internet over 4G. It comes into here. The antenna, everything's in here. It broadcasts everything over Wi-Fi. I love how simple that is. I love it because you can move this unit wherever you want. You can put it in your back bedroom. You can put it next to your Xbox. Put it wherever the hell you want, wherever's convenient, wherever's neat. It's going to spread Wi-Fi all over the house. Provided you don't have a super big house, and then you'd have to get a mesh network or something to get the Wi-Fi to cover everything. But I have a small house, so one Wi-Fi point's plenty. You know, it's awesome. It's the future. It's so cool. Like with cable, I have this old school cord coming, into my house, and I have to use coax cable. There's nothing older and jankier than coax cable. And the setup on my cable internet is like 5 times worse because I have a cable modem, right? And I have a separate router. Now you can get a cable modem and router in one, but I'd read on the internet that you don't want to do that because like someday you're going to need like a better router, and then you have to get rid of your modem and your router just to upgrade the router, that type of thing. You want to keep them separate so that you can more easily just get a new router or whatever the case may be. And if you have any problems like with your setup, then it's like your whole modem and router is trashed instead of just one or the other. You know what I mean? Like if your modem goes bad, you know what I mean? You're paying for both. So I just read there's no bueno to get one of those modem router combos because I had looked into them because they're a lot more convenient. So I didn't get one. So I have a separate router, like a Linksys. It's a decent sized router. It's an AC1650 or whatever, which was good at the time that I got it. So think about the cords you have. You have a cord going to your power cord going to your modem. A coax cord going to your modem, and I only have like certain outlets. And unless I want to run wires through the ceiling and stuff, I'm stuck. And I researched all that. That's a whole rigmarole to itself. But suffice it to say, like I've only got 3 coax cable lines coming into my house from the cable company TAP, and they're all, all those outlets are spoken for. So if I want to add a new outlet somewhere, which I do because it's not convenient to reach my TV necessarily, it's kind of rough. I would either have to do a splitter, which is no bueno because it causes signal loss, and it might work, but probably not worth. I didn't want to mess with signal loss. Or and I'd have to crawl up in the attic and run it through the walls up top, and you know what I mean. Cut a hole in the drywall to put in new. It would be a pretty big pain. And like I said, the main thing is I've investigated, and I've got 3 cable lines coming into my house, and I have 3 cable jacks. So to do anything else, I either have to move one of those. I can't get a 4th line, is what I'm trying to say. It's going to be a triple splitter in the cable box. So there's no way to get a 4th line without losing major signal. I would have to move one of the existing lines basically, and then I wouldn't have. You know what I mean? Like one line goes to the back room. Well, now I don't have a jack in the back room if I move that one. And someday I might want it. Like right now I don't, but you never know what the future holds. So on and so forth. But I want my router next to my Xbox because that's the one thing that I want wired in for fastest speeds and like online gaming. I need that 1 millisecond to lose at Call of Duty or whatever. It would either be that or my PC. I would like actually hardwired, but PC is not a big a deal because I don't game on it, and Wi-Fi mainly pretty much maxes out the connection speed anyway. Like I can almost hit 400 megabits per second off the Wi-Fi, so it's fine. But anyways. But like I said, what I love about think about the clutter of the cable modem. So you got a cable modem with a power cord and a wall wart, and then you coax one of your very limited coax connections. I only have 3 in my entire house. There's only 1 in like the whole middle living room area. I got to go to that jack, and the TV is in a different spot, about 10 feet away. I actually just ran like a cable run. With some cable hiders. That's a whole nother thing. And I had not done that for like 10 years. And what I did was just flopped everything on the ground. I just left like a cable modem on the floor, and then a router on the floor. So think about it. Then you got a router, you got an Ethernet cable going to the cable modem, you got an Ethernet cable going to your Xbox. You got the router, the power cord to the router, the modem, the coax cable to the modem, the power cord to the modem. You got all this clutter and junk, to be honest. With this, here's what you have. If you don't hardwire anything anyway, which you could easily enough, like your Xbox, and that would still be minimal clutter. You have a power cord, and that's it. And you have one device. It's so great. The number 1 plus of T-Mobile home internet. Far and away. The simplicity, and like I said, the setup is fantastic. It's a little weird and janky, like you can tell they're not really used to things yet. Just like little things, like I noticed when I first tried to get into my account online, they want you to have enter your T-Mobile phone number. Well, I'm like, wait a minute, I don't have T-Mobile phone service. I don't have a T-Mobile home. You cannot make an account without a T-Mobile phone number. And I figured out later they sent me a bill, though. Finally, I got a paper bill a couple of weeks later, and it has a actual phone number under your account, which makes sense. They give you a phone number because how else are you going to get on the network? And I just noticed they have this actual SIM card in there. So that's kind of neat, I guess, but whatever. So you can get the phone number off your bill, and then you can make an account because now you have a T-Mobile phone number. And it's funny because it can even get SMS. On your admin panel of your router, you can look at your messages that come to your T-Mobile phone number. And I think I got a few spam ones. The spammers know no bounds. And but you get it I think you get a few like welcome from T-Mobile. So you can there's an actual place on your admin panel of your router where you can go look at your SMS that comes to your T-Mobile phone number. It's weird. So that's that. Let me think where I was going with all this. So, yeah, it works. It worked good. I love the setup. You sign up, whatever, on the internet, I think, and then you get charged nothing, and they UPS you the box with this in it, and it comes in like 2-3 days. So that's how you get started. You plug it in, and the setup's really easy. You plug it in. I think it has a password on there somewhere. Yeah, it does on the underneath. You put in your Wi-Fi password, and you plug it in, and it instantly sprouts up Wi-Fi. You'll see like T-Mobile Wi-Fi, 2.4 gigahertz, and T-Mobile Wi-Fi 5 gigahertz. Instantly will come up on your Wi-Fi, and you just connect using the password that's on the bottom. It's so easy, unbelievable easy. So I love that part. Love all of that. Plug and play couldn't be easier. But so now here's another thing though. My signal turned out to be not that great. Like I didn't notice it at first, but it was only like 2 bars in most areas of my house, and that's not ideal. Hold on, I'm gonna turn the fan on. I'm getting hot. May hear a little background whooshing now, but so yes, the ease of setup is amazing. Like you don't need any help, which makes sense because they want the consumer to set it up. They don't want to send a tech out. So it's great. Setup A++, convenience A++, neatness A++. You can put this wherever you want, and it's going to feed Wi-Fi. You can put it in a back room, you can put it in a back closet, you can put it wherever you want. It's so nice. It's going to feed Wi-Fi to your whole house, provided you have a small enough house that one Wi-Fi sender can cover it all. It's amazing. So all A++ on all that. What else? I hope this video doesn't cut out because I think there's some kind of weird like file size limit on Amazon, Android. So maybe I'll try to hurry. Now let's talk about other aspects. The speed. What everyone probably wants to know. I would say I averaged like 60 megabits per second. Okay. Now a funny thing happened. There was a time. The signal. Like I said, I was 2 bars where I originally put it in my room. I moved it. I did a little research on this website called Cell Mapper where you can find like towers, and I kind of got an idea where I think their tower closest to here is, and I have a back room that's closer, kind of, and pointing at it, kind of. So I put it in the back room, but then it's kind of far away for the Wi-Fi, I put it kind of in the window, but I have thick, heavy blinds, and I left those down as I normally do. It kicked the signal up to 3 bars anyway. It seemed to in that back room, but it was still a little low. It shows yellow, like caution, I guess, when you're at 2 or 3 bars. Either one shows you, but it seemed to consistently get 3 bars in the back room. Another weird thing that happened around then is I was constantly getting, I would say, 40 to 60 megabits per second. Right, I speed tested it constantly. That's what I was getting. When I was in the back room, for some reason, I switched to 5 because I'd messed around with 5 gigahertz and stuff, and I never thought it was worth it or whatever. I thought it was a big, basically scam, stupid, doesn't help, Well, I messed around with 5 gigahertz, and I connected to this 5 gigahertz for some reason, and I actually was getting faster speeds to my shock. So 5 gigahertz actually did help, but it does have shorter range. But it seemed to have enough range to reach everywhere in the house still. So, pro tip: try 5 gigahertz on it. I didn't at first because I knew that 2.4 gigahertz had longer range, and in my past experience, the speeds were always the same. So, I just defaulted. And I was reading about it, and the reason is because 2.4 gigahertz is a very congested band. Even microwaves and garage door openers and all this crap use 2.4 gigahertz frequency. So, it's good to get away from it into the less congested. And if you think about it, it makes sense because 5G has shorter range. So that means like your neighbor's 5G crap's not going to be interfering with yours as much. It's actually kind of, I always thought it was like a weakness, like 5G has short range. But it's actually kind of a strength because it prevents like all your neighbors all around you crap from infecting you as much, and it gives less interference. So anyways, for whatever reason, 5 gigahertz, I saw a noticeable speed boost, and I was getting, I would say, 70 megabits per second to 90 megabits per second. Somewhere in that range. I could touch 90 for sure. I passed 90 a few times, which is a significant speed up, right? From going from, I'd say, average 50 to 60 to average 70 to 90, something around that order. Just with using 5 gigahertz instead of 2.4. So that's just a little pro tip. Now, I do love that it's unlimited. That means I can set it to like download big ass Xbox games, and I don't care. It may take longer, way longer than Suddenlink. because again, I was getting 400 megabits with Suddenlink, and here I'm down to like 60 to 90, let's say. So you're talking about at best like a little less than 1/4 the speed. It doesn't come into play most of the time, but did I notice it? Yes. And it also had kind of a janky feel, meaning like just kind of stop and start. Like I just go to a web page and it's like didn't want to go for a second, then it would go, that kind of thing. And I actually don't think that's related to throughput. That's not because the megabits were low enough. It's just because the nature of like 4G. It's kind of stop and start all the time. It's not like a consistent line somehow. Is the sense I got. So yes, there was some jankiness and stuff. Now I would definitely say it was usable. Like there were like days where I'd get on and like I kind of almost forgot I had new internet, or I would. I just used it as normal. It was just, like I said, it would just slip my mind that I was even using a different internet. So in that sense, it was a big success. It works fine. But in another sense, there are times of like jankiness, like a sort of like a stop and start feel to it. There was definitely noticeable difference to my old cable. Not sure what the issue is, whether it was like low signal. I'm not sure. So yeah, there's that. But here's another interesting thing I found out that I didn't know before, but I found out on like a Facebook group or something that that's about all this kind of stuff, is that they apparently throttle you after. They don't throttle you. It's unlimited. They don't mention this anywhere. But after 50 gigabytes data use in the month, they deprioritize you. All that means is like you kind of go to the back of the line to use the data versus like their pay phone customers or whatever. Not a big deal really, but I guess it could just like make you somewhat janky. So that could be, honestly, some of what I noticed with the jankiness and stuff was the deprioritization, because I didn't know that before. That apparently your first 50 gigabytes each month is nice and like prioritized, and then they deprioritize it. It's not the end of the world. Deprioritization doesn't mean like it's terrible or something. Some people probably try to make it out that way. It just means like you may have a little more congestion and stuff than otherwise. It's not the end of the world. And I think I noticed that on Xbox too, because like my first Xbox thing download was doing pretty fast, and like a later one I did was only doing a little slower, like 30 megabits per second, I think. Maybe that was the deprioritization kicking in. So again, everything worked fine. My Xbox download, I downloaded a full game on there. It took like it was like a 40 meg game, I think. It took like a 15 gigabyte game took like an hour. I don't remember exactly. It's usable, but it's definitely much slower than Suddenlink. Like I said, one of my later downloads I tried, I was doing like 20 or 30 megabits a second only, I think, which isn't even near the max speed of it. So who knows? That could have been the deprioritization kicking in or whatever. The good thing is it's unlimited, so you can leave it on as long as you want. But still, if it's going to take like 4 to 6 hours, let's say, to download like a full-fledged like 70 gigabyte Xbox game, that is a little bit of a downer. It basically means you can't just like if my 400 gigabit connection, it's fast enough for megabit that I can like think about downloading a game and I can have it in like 45 minutes to an hour. It's kind of like instant gratification. Like, oh, I'll have that pretty quick. I'll just go do something else for a little bit. And whereas with this speed, it's probably more like for big games, you're gonna have to be like almost. It's gonna be overnight almost. It might be a 4 to 6 hours. In which case, like if you're thinking about that and you start thinking about a game at like 9 p.m., well, you're probably not gonna be able to play that today. So your mileage may vary how much it matters. And Game Pass is really the only reason I even care. Because everything else I think it would be fine for. And actually, the more I talk about it here on this review, the more I'm like I already canceled my service just now, which is pretty easy. The only part that wasn't easy was that I had to call them. You have to call them, of course, to cancel. Everybody needs to offer online canceling, in my opinion, but for obvious reasons, they don't necessarily like that. Oh, I did cancel. Oh, I forgot to mention that. So I called Suddenlink and I was like, look, I have another internet option now. I'm gonna cancel if you guys don't lower my bill. The guy's like, oh, we can help you with that, sir, and all that nonsense they tell you. And he's like, so how much, you paying? I said 50 or whatever, and he ends up giving me the 400 megabits per second for $49.50 a month. I guess it's their policy to undercut the competition by a little bit. You can undercut T-Mobile by 50 cents a month. But I couldn't pass that up because at the end of the day, it's much faster internet. You know, like I noticed on YouTube with the T-Mobile, sometimes it buffer. Sometimes I like to skip around the videos a lot. Like, and with Suddenlink, it's pretty fluid. Not that Suddenlink is perfect, by the way. They have jankiness too sometimes. It just depends. But overall, there's more jankiness on T-Mobile. Like if I wanted a fluid limit, you know, and just little things that come into my mind. Like let's say I'm watching YouTube with Suddenlink, it's like 4K, 60 is no problem. You know, it's just nice having like that Ferrari type internet. You know, whereas with T-Mobile, all of a sudden it's like you start noticing like, oh, I should probably turn this YouTube down from 4K 60 to 1080 60 or 1080 30 or whatever. You know, just little things where you don't have that Ferrari internet anymore. You start noticing it a little bit. But like I said, I love the billing. I love the honesty of T-Mobile. You know, and that billing and stuff. Canceling, I just did it. Called on the phone. Now, I would say the one problem was I call on the phone the first time and I get a message that like your wait time is 1 hour. I'm like, really? Like this should be illegal that you have to wait an hour on the phone to cancel. You know, and it may not even be an hour because anybody who's waited on the phone a long time knows that you know, your hour may come up and who knows if they'll ever get to you. You know, that should be illegal in my opinion. You know, because it's like a big detriment to canceling. How are you going to cancel if you can't reach them on the phone? You know. But they had a hey, would you like us to call you back thing, and luckily I did that, and I've done that a few times before with different places, and they've never called me back. Usually, it seems to be just like a quit bothering us type of thing. They say they call you back and they don't. But this one, I said just said call back, put in my number, whatever, to the recorded robot. And actually, they did actually call me back though, so that was good. And they called me back in about 1 hour, like they said. You know, I was able to easily enough get it canceled. So that actually worked out well. I didn't have to sit on hold for a dang hour. And the cancel was easy. Pretty easy. They did try to keep you a little bit. Oh, are your speeds not good, sir? We can troubleshoot that. You know, this kind of nonsense that I'm technically inclined enough. I know 10 times more about troubleshooting than they do, you know? But yeah, so it's good. It's good. I just like the idea, the simplicity. The actual product could use a little work. It's kind of janky, and it could be because I'm only getting the 2 to 3 bars, as mentioned. I don't know. There's not a lot you can do about that. You can get modems, and I'm on these websites that do like LTE internet and stuff, Facebook's groups, and they apparently there is kind of a group working on antennas that will hook up to this thing. So you'll be able to get like an antenna, and they're going to sell it. That you can jack into this T-Mobile modem thing and run it outside your house and run an antenna. I don't think I would actually do that anyway because just running an external antenna would be a big pain. So and it works as is. It's not. And plus, I'm hoping T-Mobile could upgrade their service or whatever. And even if they never did, like I said, it works. It's usable. It's not ideal. It's a little janky. A little slow compared to Suddenlink, but it works, I love the pricing. I love the honesty. It's great. By the way, when I canceled, the lady did mention something about, well, what kind of price, or something like that. I think they were going to try to even go even lower than Suddenlink quite a bit. Like I might have gotten even way cheaper, I might have gotten this for $35 a month or something. But I didn't pursue that avenue. I told her I wasn't really interested in keeping it or whatever because of the speed. So you could potentially get it even way cheaper. And then as far as, the only thing is you don't own this router. I forgot to mention that. You got to send it back when you're done. But it doesn't cost you anything, so that's good. You pay your $50 a month and that's it. And you don't have an equipment fee or anything, but they do request that you send the router back when. And as to how that works, when I canceled, she said, "Okay, we'll send you the mailing label in the mail in the next couple of days." So that's awesome. That means they're gonna send me a prepaid mailing label. I'm gonna put it back in the same box that came in that I kept, of course. and mail it off. Like, that's really simple, really nice. You don't have to worry about shipping. They're just gonna, when you call to cancel, they'll send you the prepaid shipping label to ship it back. That's great, great. Um, Other than that, I don't know. I love, the simplicity and the lack of clutter is the nicest aspects. And I have a feeling I may definitely go back to T-Mobile, because when I got my Suddenlink changed to 49.50 a month, I asked the guy, like, because I had heard a lot of horror stories too about, yeah, you can call and complain and they'll lower your bill a little bit, but then they'll just slowly creep it back up over the next few months. They never miss a trick, so to speak. um, so I asked the guy, like, how long is this new price good for? And he said 12 months. So that's not bad, I figured. That's one reason that made my decision. So I got cheap Suddenlink for 12 months, and they're going to jack it. And we'll see what happens. I could go a lot of ways with this. I may call them again and at the end of 12 months and see if I can get a lower price again. But then I won't have the T-Mobile here to threaten to switch with, and I need it here so that I can really switch, because I can't go a day without home internet, or 3 days, or whatever it may be. But so I don't know what's going to happen at 12 months. 12 months is going to fly by, trust me, and then I'm going to be faced with the same dilemma again. We'll see what happens. I'll probably call Suddenlink and try to change it, or my initial goal, like I said, was to cut off Suddenlink for at least the 30 days and get one of their new customer deals. And obviously that didn't end up happening. But maybe that's what I'll do next time. I may get this T-Mobile again, cut Suddenlink again, stay off them for 30 days, then get back on it. It depends. But honestly, I like the concept of this T-Mobile so much that I may just, it's tempting to just go with it, because it's cheap. It works. If I didn't have fast cable, I wouldn't know what I was missing. Hypothetical me in an alternate universe would love this. So I really like it. I really want to commend T-Mobile for the simplicity, the honesty. I really like, and I think this is the future. Like I said, because this is so simple. Getting your stuff over the airways. There's no reason for stupid cord, janky ass coax cable. This is all you need. Your signals come in the air and they go out the air. Only clutter you have going for you is a power cord. Put it anywhere in your house. That's what I love about it. So yes, it works. It's good. The speed, Suddenlink ended up beating them on speed and price for now, but we'll see in the future. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. They do have a phone app, but I couldn't get it to work. I don't know if it's some combination of my particular phone or what. Because I have a a OnePlus phone instead of a Samsung. But there's an app to control the router, I guess. Phone app. But it kept putting me in some kind of loop where it'd say click here to connect to the app. Click here to verify your log in or something. I don't remember how the loop works, but so you go and log in there and say click here to return to the app, and you click there and it would go back to click here to log in or something. I don't remember. It was some kind of loop that you couldn't get out of. And I just assume it has something to do with my particular model of phone or something weird like that. So I couldn't get it to work, the phone app. But it's not a big deal because you can just go to the router. I will say the router interface is really nice. Again, I love the little touches like that. It's a nice web interface. It's just nice. It has all your stuff there, your signal strength, your advanced settings. It's pretty for a router, and whereas a Linksys or something like that still feels janky, old. It's like a BIOS or something, like a BIOS for your PC, janky and feels crappy. Whereas T-Mobile's router, not a big deal, but it's nice. It's kind of pretty. It's laid out nice. It's the little touches, man, that are so important in customer service and stuff. I really like the way that just the router interface is and all that. I Like I said, I had a problem making a T-Mobile account first. I will mention that. Because, like I say, it says, what's your T-Mobile phone number? I'm like, T-Mobile phone number, I'm home internet. But eventually when I got my first bill, it did have my phone number on there. I noticed I was able to make the account. And I may have been able to do that before. I can't remember. There may have been a workaround somehow that I missed or something, but I didn't. But it's actually not too big a deal because they just send you a bill in the mail. You won't be able to, or at least I couldn't access my account for like 2 weeks until they sent me my first bill or something. But since they don't charge you or anything, it's really not a big deal. And you could always call them, I guess, would be the fallback. And then once you get your account set up, then you can just access your account online for whatever whatever your next billing date and things like that. And it's just auto pay, so you don't have to worry about that. You set up auto pay when you buy it, or else you pay more, I guess. So that's all I have to say about T-Mobile home internet. It's going back, but I love it. And it's very nice. It's wonderful to have 2 internet options now, competition, and this is the future, man. I guarantee you, internet over 4G, 5G, all that is coming. It's the future. It's competition. It's coming over the airwaves, so to compete with the cord. I hope they keep increasing the speed. I don't know exactly what the plans are, whatever. I assume that it's going to constantly keep increasing. So if like in a couple of years they have 300 megabits, 200 megabits, and the cable company is still at 1 gig, is 400 megs, this all of a sudden becomes a lot more attractive to me, It's a little janky, like I said, could be my signal strength. Hope they keep improving that. Hope they put a new tower around here or something like that where I get 4 or 5 bars, that kind of thing. The tower's not far. I think it's like 2 miles down the road, but in like 4G speed, that's a decent distance, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, I know that there's some underground people working in antennas that hook up to this. I believe the site you go to is maybe LTEfix.com is where they're going to sell it. They sell all kinds of LTE stuff currently. It's like an established LTE place. So you can get all kinds of weird stuff there now. But they're working on an antenna for this, I know, according to the Facebook group. Again, I probably wouldn't use it anyway because I'm assuming it's an external, outside antenna, and I'm not messing with all that wiring. Yes, T-Mobile internet, I do very much like it. I love the simplicity of this guy. That alone is a big, big draw for me. I don't have to worry about all these cables, coax cables, modems, routers, all this nonsense. Where's my cable jack to hook my, it limits where I can put my PC or where I can put my modem and router. With this, there's no limit. I can put it anywhere in the house. I can put it in a damn cupboard, So yeah, that's T-Mobile home internet. Big thumbs up from me, even though I'm canceling.